Hello and welcome to my video. I'm very nervous because it's my first video for the YouTube channel. It's going to be about Neurographica. And what is Neurographica? You might heard about it. It's like very interesting looking pictures, like one of the I have on the wall. And it's a bit more deeper than that, because Neurographica is a method which combines together aesthetics, coaching, and the principles of the neuroscience, how the brain works. And it's not just allows you to do the coaching, do the creativity, and merge them together in a fun way and get something beautiful out of it, which you could put on a wall, for example, or just be proud of yourself. And just a disclaimer, you don't need to be able to draw to be able to produce Neurographica and help it towards your life goals. And going back to that is this method, it's not just the pretty drawing, it also allows you to have a mini coaching session with yourself or with a coach, whatever is best suits you. And what happens during the process is the drawing has a few principles which allows you activate the neural network which connects to the topic. And when you draw, you always have a topic. And since I'm going to do a little demonstration in about 5 minutes time after I did all of my talk and the introductory and hopefully sold you on how great experience you're going to get in a few minutes, then yeah, but I need to explain, because we are the creatures of the logic and we like to know what is happening. We're not going to go and do something if we do not understand why we need it. The brain is structured that way and the psyche is structured that way, that we only do the actions which we understand will be profitable for us. Because any action takes the energy from us, and why would the brain and psyche release any energy for activity which it thinks is useless? Going back to why are we procrastinating, why we're not completing any tasks. Like me, for example, I am trying to start the YouTube channel since I think 2016. I moved to the UK to do my master's degree in London, and I was thinking, wow, London and England was my dream from my childhood. And since I'm going to be traveling a lot and exploring all of that, why don't I do a vlog about all of that and document my journey? And it will be helpful and it might help me monetize it even. And I never did it. I had some attempts. I was opening channels, I was posting something, but I never completed the task. And one of the reasons is because I had certain limitations in my brain. It could be the beliefs, it could be that this thought process, how to get there, wasn't clear enough. And my brain was limiting me to actually completing the tasks, because for my psyche, for my brain, for my current neural connections, all the neurons are the little cells that connects with each other, cell electrical signals and all of that. We might go deeper into it in one of the videos if it's something you're curious. And if they are not aligned together, they would put limitation and say, no, we're not going to release the energy, we're not going to complete the task. And even if we put effort and forced ourselves to start, it's not going to last and it's not going to be successful, because even though we convince ourselves logically, if all of our being is not fully believing that this is going to be successful, subconsciously the brain is going to trigger the actions that is going to lead us to fail. So if I believe that something will fail, that the activity I'm going to do, for example, if I believe that this video is not going to get million views, it's not going to be helpful to anyone, all of my actions would be subconsciously like, I'm going to be postponing to upload it. I'm not going to film it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to be nervous. So my daughter upstairs would, mommy's feeling nervous. I need to come and check on her. I need to come and check the lab. My husband is probably going to be, I don't know, getting the calls or getting something. The neighbors are going to knock at the doors, and all of these connections, all of those distractions, there you go, there she is shouting, wanting my attention, all of those events around us, which seems random, but they're actually not random, because our brain does things which, not exactly does things, it triggers the pattern of the actions which we are not always comprehend. So our brain have the conscious part, which is the logic, which is, I understand what am I doing, I set up the beautiful display, I cleared out all the mess from the shelf, I put one camera to film me, another camera I have here on the tripod to film the drawing, so you can follow the process as well. I understand what I'm doing, and consciously I'm set myself to do well. But we have more levels of the mind. So consciousness is just the tip of the iceberg, but we also have subconscious, which is our belief, which is our fears, which are those limitations that's going to be like, why not? Like if the voice starts to, it's because subconscious said, don't do it, or let's sabotage it, or something like that. And we also have the unconscious part, which we don't have access to. But all of those processes which are built in our mind are still govern how we act, how we do things, without us even realizing it. And what Neurographica does, it allows to activate the neural network, all of those connections between cells, like one cell is connected to each other, which is associated with the topic, and allows them to change. Because when we draw a very special line, which is called Neurographica line, or the line of Piskarov's line, which is the creator of the method. I will show in a minute how to do it, how to draw it. And when we draw this line, it allows us to change the patterns of the current existence. So if I only have a neural network, how to not be successful, how to not have a relationship, how to have my weight, which I might not be happy about, I will never gonna gain my desired weight or the body quality, or even the hair thing. I love my hair, and one of the things I do about my care is like I take a very good care of my hair, and I moisturize it and do the masks and all of that. And until some point, I believe that I can only have a beautifully looking hair if I pay lots of money to do a keratin treatment. But even if I did, I had some doubts about it, like, oh, maybe they did it wrong, or the shampoo I have washing it out. And what I started to seeing is that it's actually started to happen. My hair got worse quality, and it translates into everything. And you might think like, oh, that's actually what's happening to me. I want to do something, but I don't fully believe. And all of those limitations we put ourselves on are what governs what we do. And what we're going to do today is we are going to look into how to get rid of those limitations via activating what we have. We always have the point A we go for, and point B, which we want to come. This is the fundamental of the success. We must admit what's happening here. But what happens in the therapy, for example, it takes a long, long time to find out what's actually happening and what are the reasons. And it goes to that I have my mom, I have my father, and they did something, and it's all of this. It's my beliefs and all of that coming from the parents and the events happening, the trauma and all of that. But it doesn't build the future. this is the point A, and it's good to understand what's happening. But what is even better is understand where am I going with it, and what's my final destination, and what actually stops me from coming into my final beautiful point B, where I am happy with my body, where I'm happy with my relationship, where I'm happy with amount of money I have, when I'm happy with my friends and all of that. And all of this is only the question of, do I have those limitations that prevents me to come to this point? And yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. So I think I'm gonna stop talking. It's been 10 minutes of my talk. I really like talking, and I will continue doing it while we draw and explaining certain things. So now is the time to prepare the materials, and you don't need much to draw Neurographica. If you really get into the process, you can get all of the supplies. Like I have the nice highlighters here of many colors. I have different types of markers of a different thickness. I really like those. Those are one of the cheapest from the supermarket, but they're just the best for my liking. And I have the pencils, and all of those things are great, but to actually draw Neurographica, it would be enough if you just have one marker or one pencil. So if you can go and get a marker set and a highlighter set, great. If you only have one pencil in the house, it shouldn't be the reason to not draw Neurographica and not make your life better. And also this process just makes you more creative. It activates the creative part of the brain, which releases the creativity, which releases the energy, and just makes you much more happier. So let's start. The reason why we don't feel happy as well is because we have limitations in our brains that prevents us to have happy. And today we have chance to remove them. So I'm going to switch the camera now so you can see my paper. There we go. And this is the drawing I did previously. This was the planning for the week. This one was the 3-year planning, which I also do, and I'll make a next video about it sometime soon. But now we're gonna go and dive into removing limitations of our brains, which prevents us from being happy, which prevents us from being creative, which prevents us from being not depressed, which prevents us from anything we want to achieve in life. And I'm gonna start with writing the topic, which would be, whenever I draw, I always have something happen with my markers. I do sometimes the public master classes where I present to tens of hundreds of people sometimes, and something must happen exactly that day, like the marker stops writing or something across those lines. So today, what we're going to start with is with writing the topic of today's drawing. And I'm thinking, what can I do? And I think I just start with happiness. Because happiness is a very deep topic which can be caused from different sources. Happiness can be from being happy in a relationship, being happy as a mother, or being happy as knowing yourself, happy with the body. It's all includes here. And the process we're going to do now, it's actually going to reveal what are we about. So I'm going to time 2 minutes. And during this time, I suggest to I'm going to write down everything that comes to my mind, which is related or just a random thing, because this random thing can be something from our subconscious or unconscious part, which can be the clue to solution. So 2 minutes, let's get going. And you can finish off with the thinking and just write down the final word, which is, for me, clean house. And then I can look at my list and see what's happening there. And I can see that it's a very, very random display. And actually, as I remember now, my goal was to do a successful YouTube channel. So I'm gonna write it down. So successful YouTube channel, which would bring me happiness. And I can see that there are different things in this list. Like, for example, there is a Neurographica user, which is the course where I'm teaching how to do this method, for example. I wanted to do the club. Actually, I'm about to start the club where we're going to be drawing every month, every week of the month, which in the topic of money and how to attract it to our life, how to remove those limitations. Maybe I'll do the videos. So there's a golf, which I like and haven't done before. Like there is a tight skin on my breast, for example, like all sorts, which is seem unrelated, but because they all come up, they are all important and they all participate on our neural network. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to see how I actually feel about all of this. And I'll close my eyes and prepare my materials as well, just to make my picture beautiful, because it's an aesthetic method and the aesthetics of the picture is very important to me as well. So I'm gonna close my eyes and I'm gonna go through all of those things and feelings, and I might make me a bit angry because I don't have them at the moment, and I'm just dragging it all out where I could have had it done years ago. And then I'm just gonna throw all of those concerns, all of those worries, or even happy moments. Sometimes we can not know what's stopping us from being there. And I'm gonna throw on the paper, and it's just like that. And this is the first step. And after I did it, I have something to work with. And I might have felt a little bit of relief. I feel that it's not longer in my head. It's somewhere else now. It's on the paper and it's all fine. I can deal with it. There is a principle that every problem have a graphical solution. Every task, we don't have problems in Neurographica. Everything is tasks because everything is solvable. Everything can be solved with this method. And then I'm starting to draw a line, which goes in the most weird way. So it goes where I don't expect it to go. And every second, every moment I draw this line, I'm sort of thinking, all right, it's not actually thinking, it's more the realization of where would I go without having consciousness. If I would just go, and the line, how it would usually go without me thinking about it, without me paying attention, this is our patterns. We act in our life somehow without realizing it. For example, taking my kid, I could come downstairs and see that she opened the fridge and ate all of the cake I bought for myself. And my automatic response, we all consist of automatic responses because it saves brain the energy. It works a couple of times and then brain can just say, all right, it worked for me once, it worked for me twice, and now I do not want to spend any energy on thinking how to deal with this situation. And I'm just gonna do what I know works. So I could come downstairs and see my daughter ate the cake I bought for myself to have in the evening. And my first reaction can be, oh, I'm gonna shout at her. But if I realize, if I'm conscious as what's happening with me, what emotions are inside me, how my body feels about it. I can think and have a conversation with myself. Maybe she didn't mean it in a bad way. She didn't know that this cake was so special. She just was hungry, and I probably forgot to feed her on time or something, or didn't ask how, if she was hungry. So she just went and helped herself. And when I realize it, I think, there's nothing critical about it. I can just go and get another cake. Or maybe it can be a reminder for myself that actually I wanted to get my body fitter. And I would say, thank you, daughter, for helping me getting more fit. And then my response would be different. And when we draw the line in the most unusual way for ourselves, we allow our neurons to build in a different way. So every time, every straight line which I draw in the beginning, that would be our automatic response, which doesn't lead us anywhere. Because if it was successful strategy, we would already have what we wanted. We would already be happy. We would already have the body we want. We would already have relationship we want. We would already have exact amount of money in our bank account. But it's not there because the actions we have, the actions we do are not leading to the success, and we need to do it differently. And when we draw, every movement of my hand is connected, activates the neurons, because there's a principle called micromotorics, which connects the movement of our hands with the function of our brain. So when I move my hand in an unpredicted way, when I move my hand differently, it also affects how my brain works. It creates the new path that allows me to act differently next time. And the other thing I'm doing is I'm making those corners. See, there are lots of corners when the lines crosses together, and they look a bit sharp. And every corner that is in these drawings is one or another in a conflict. I can feel that my hand really, really is against drawing all of that because it's somewhat painful. It's not always pleasant to ameliorate the situation, to sort the conflict out, to go and even talk to someone or realize, like, you know what, I was wrong there. I better go and apologize or something. And the most difficult conflict is with yourself, because you have to admit to yourself at some point that, you know what, I wasn't efficient enough. I had this knowledge for years and I never bothered to share with that. And it means that probably I have to admit to myself that, you know what, I actually was lazy. I was lazy and I wasn't doing what I needed to do, and well, let's do something about it. But what we don't want is, you never want to be bad for yourself, because you want to be good. You want to be successful in your own eyes. And if we're not, it's easier sometimes to cover it. It's easier sometimes to explain to yourself, why am I not there, and why I'm still not popular, for example. If I want lots of people to get help, because I know this method works, and I know that I have this ambition that I want to make people's lives better. And I know that Neurographica is one of the tools that could help them achieve that. But what do I do about it? Do I record the video every day and post it there so people can understand about the brain, how the brain works, how to help themselves, and how to make their lives better? No, I don't. And I need to realize it and say, oh, well, I didn't do to my best potential. And that's fine. And when I do all of those areas, I might notice then I have different thoughts in every corner. For example, around here, I was thinking about popularity and all of that. Over here, it's more my family part, and I have different thoughts coming. And what's my husband is going to think about it? Maybe he's not into all of that and say, like, oh, your methods again. Because, of course, as every wife is, you try to give the best to your partner, and they're not always on the same page with you, and they not always have the same ideas how to help themselves, and they feel different, and that's okay. And what else? Now I feel that I want all of this to be filled with the lines. I'm adding a new neuron connection into my brain via drawing. And it feels very good. I'm thinking that after I admitted that I don't do something most effective way, then it's fine. Who does? None of us get born with all of the skills in our life. We are good at some things, and those are talents. Or maybe, are there even such a thing as a talent? Because I always thought that I'm very good at languages, and I always loved languages. I started learning English when I was 5. My mom took me to the English class. I didn't go to the nursery or any of the kindergartens or anything, but mom took me to 2 classes. One of them was drawing, and another one was English class. And I started learning English from when I was a child, and I also watched those programs for kids about learning languages, and then I liked German program. And languages were always easy for me, and I just kept adding more and more to them, and I never realized that because it was so easy, I didn't realize that it was one of my talents, because what gets easy to us we take it for granted. But when I realized at some point, I looked back, and actually I put a lot of work for me to be able to say, languages are easy to me. And I noticed that once when I was going from work, I was working in the lab, in the Biomedical Chemistry Institute in Moscow. And I hate doing changes in public transport. So in Moscow, like in England, there's a tube, and I think in New York it's called metro. In Moscow it's called metro as well, or subway, yeah, that one. So in Moscow it's called metro. And I don't mind it. It's fun to be in a train and all, especially outside of the rush hour. But I really hate doing changes. So for me, it's sometimes easier just to walk to the station I need, so I do less changes. And my work had a couple of very uncomfortable changes. So sometimes when I felt like it, I just walked instead of taking a bus or public transport. And the walk lasted about 2 hours or something. I didn't mind it because it kept me fit, it kept me thinking, and after being in the warm lab, sitting and doing some brain activity, was just nice to give your body some movement. And I was listening to the song, one of the reggaeton ones, and it was a little rap bed, and I wanted to learn how to sing the song. And I eventually did. I'm not very good at singing it, but maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I will be. But what I did, I was having this song on repeat for all of those 2 hours while I was walking. And by the end, I was in the metro. I could do this little rap bit. And I thought, that was easy. But actually, it's not, because I spent 2 hours practicing it. I was motivated. I was so motivated that I didn't notice the effort I put in it. And what we do is we do the same thing. We don't notice our talents because it's just easy and we just keep putting effort. So the talent is actually just us putting enough effort into it. And now I feel that my picture is very harmonic and all of that, and my body feels way more relaxed. And yeah, and I realized that I never explained how I wanted to. That's the other reason why we don't start things, because we put such high expectations about how we want the result. And then when we don't realize that I might not have all of those resources, either mental resources or materialistic resources, finances or equipment, we end up not doing it. But that's just the worst thing could happen. So I'll make another video how to draw the line and how to do conjoining, which is making those angles nice and smooth, so you could repeat the process. Anyways, we have the mirror neurons, which are the great thing. So if you draw with me on this video, you're still gaining a lot from it, because we don't just learn from learning. The best learning is from copying what's happening around us, and it happens on unconscious level. So when kids go around parents, and parents can, for example, say that, you know what, it's very good to go to bed early, or it's very good to eat healthy, and you just absolutely must eat your vegetables and all. But if they just say it, but the kid says that during the dinner, the parents are eating, all they eat is fish and chips, the kid is gonna get the message that actually fish and chips is the right thing to eat, because that's what they see the parents eating. And the parents for the little child is something like a god, because they give birth, they took care of him, and it looks to the children that whatever we do is the right thing to do. So no matter what we say, if we do it differently, the brain is never going to believe the words and would feel what is actually happening. And now when I'm happy with my network, this is all nice and pretty, the round shapes are feeling safe and convenient, and brain knows the circle, it feels natural to it. So when something is a round shape, the brain doesn't mind adapting it because it feels safe. There is a whole study about why is it happening, and it's deeper studied on the Neurographica basic course. Why is the circle? Why is it harmonic for it? And yeah, I might also record another video. I need someone to make a list for me what videos I need to make, because I'm a very creative person and I'm also ambitious, and sometimes my ambitions overpower my abilities. Like I can be very creative at one moment and come up with ideas about 10 videos, but because it needs discipline to actually go and record them or making a list what to do about it, I not always realize and make it into reality, all of the ideas, which is okay, because I know this is my weak spot. So at some point I decided I need to hire someone to remind me, or admit and ask someone, say, well, can you please remind me? And people usually like teaching and being right and all of that. So, well, it works all right. So now I'm looking which part of my neural network on the paper I can merge together, I can integrate. Because after we made our neural network nice and pleasant, there's no conflicts, there's no sharp angles. Sometimes they still look like they are, and you can always go back to it and fix it. And then I go and merge the areas together, forming some sort of meaning, some sort of shapes in my brain. And as usual, I am paying attention to what thoughts I have coming and how my body feels and what image I have in front of my face. And this looks like a fun, it's getting more and more fun every stroke of the pen. So I know I'm going into the right direction. It's not always the problem which is difficult. It's often the attitude, how we feel about all of this. Because I can feel that, well, it's one of my favorite stories. It was when I was learning how to be, I'm a certified Neurographica instructor. So I have completed the course, the examination, and worked with my clients. There was over 100 drawings I had to draw and submit for corrections to my supervisor, and then it got further checked and all of that. So it was a long journey, and in the end of it, you get a certificate that you could teach the method. So I am really qualified to teach the method and work with the clients on the personal issues and the groups and all of that. So one of the cases I did is my daughter's bedtime, my daughter's routine in the bedtime. And she was about 3.5 at that point. And my husband was working away a lot, and I felt that just everything is on me. I need to do the certification, I need to do the housekeeping, I need to take her to nursery, and she was bringing lots of bugs from a nursery, like maybe, lots of kids do. They go to nursery one day and then they come down with 3 bugs in a row, and it's like a never-ending cycle. And she was sleeping with us at the time, so in our bed. And I was very tired because I didn't get proper sleep and didn't get proper rest, never got me time. And when I tried getting her to sleep, it didn't work because she always came back. And it wasn't until the point when I did the few drawings on this topic, and my topic was her going to bed early at 6, 7 o'clock. And when I understood why is it so important to me, how am I going to feel when she is actually sleeping in her own bed and she has the routines and what I get from it. Next day, it was actually the same day. So I drew this, her going to bed at 6 o'clock, and that day she fell asleep by herself, no problems at all. It was something incredible for me. I was thought, what? Why did I not do it earlier? It was so easy. It was so troubleless. Just same day, very early, once I believed and understood why it can happen. So that's why this method is so powerful, that it allows us to come to agreement with ourselves on what we want to achieve. And once we do, it's just a matter of execution, which is easy because there is no inner conflict, why it can't happen, why it is difficult, why do we need it? As I was explaining earlier, why does brain and psyche need to release energy to get it done? Once inside is all synchronized, the outside actions always follow through. You get so much energy from the process, and then you just go and get it done. The reason why I'm recording this video today, for example, is because this Monday I was doing the weekly planning and I scheduled for myself to record the YouTube video. So there I am. I've removed all of the limitations and all of my inner conflicts that might arise when I do it, and I'm actually doing it. So this line I did is like a river. It's like the river of the energy of something bigger, which would support me during the solution, which was happiness, which was the happily launching the YouTube channel. And now I'm going to create the new solution by drawing a circle on top of it. So I have some lines already, and I see that this can turn into a lovely circular shape. And all as always, all the lines in Neurographica are the Neurographica lines, or Professor Piskaryov's line. He's truly genius person coming up with all of that, and really proud to be a part of all of it. And one of the things which I remembered when he was saying is, when you draw Neurographica, you definitely will leave that day, because when you harmonize your inside, is just something that must happen. The life must go on. So I'm doing all of those lines of the circle outlined. I'm doing them going a bit not the way how I would expect it to go. Drawing a special line, integrating it with the rest of the network, but outlining the solution. I don't know what solution is, but for my brain, it does not matter. We don't need to realize all of the details, how it's going to happen, or what exactly is happening. If our brain has those neurons activated by the drawing process, then the rest is just technicality. We don't understand all the time how the walking happened or how the talking happened. Or I, for example, don't even think how would I say certain things in English, even though English is not my first language. It got to the automatic state that I can just switch speak in English, or hablar español, or говорить по-русски, и для меня это легко. It's easy for me. This is the same thing. When I create the solution graphically, it imprints in my brain, in my neural network, and the action will follow through 100%. It might be not straight away. Sometimes it takes a day to realize what was happening, some insights that coming. Sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes longer, and sometimes you don't even realize what happened because suddenly the life got better, the problem is not even there, and you think like, huh, why do you say it's a problem? Like, it's always been good. We tend to forget what sort of work was put in into something when something is going well. That's why it's so important. I always recommend to my clients or people who do draw with me to write down the topic in the back side of the drawing, because when we do, we can always go back to it and see what actually was happening. Like, I had quite a positive list today, but sometimes it's not as positive, and maybe you find more negatively charged words than the positive one, then that's absolutely fine. This algorithm is perfect solution for it. It could replace, if you learn how to do this algorithm properly, it could replace you lots of hours of therapy, because you will have an opportunity to help yourself. And now I have the solution fixed, and what it does is it makes it bigger and more visible to the brain. And whatever is bigger in our vision, that seems important. So now my resources will be focusing, my inner brain resources will be focused on solving this situation, making effort, putting energy into this. And we can do something about it, but the process will work no matter what, if we put active resources into it or if we don't. And now I really liked how it turned out, and I want to do a little bit touch-ups with the pencils. It's one of my favorite parts. That's when somewhat creativity comes from. But another part of it is it helps me get back to reality by transitioning from the drawing process into more cognitive process, where I can think, what did I actually cover? And you could flip your drawings and do whatever you want with it. Apart from burning it, even if you hate it, and you might find that your first attempt is not as pretty as you would want it to be, please, please, please never burn it, because one day you might decide to continue doing this, and you'll get better, and you'll think, oh, I wish I kept the first drawing just to compare how it was. And in any case, if you feel any emotions like saying, oh, I hate this drawing, it's actually not the drawing, it's just a piece of paper with a marker paint on it. It didn't do anything to you, it didn't do anything bad, but those emotions, this attitude, how you feel about it, that's a good indication that I might need to look into it, because there might be something inside me that creates this inner conflict, draining my energy. All of those negative emotions, when we keep grudge against them, or when we think, oh, he's not doing something for me, how horrible, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. It's all drains our energy out. We all have the limited but sort of unlimited amount of energy. But people with their high energy who can do lots of things during the day, they don't have much more energy. We all have the same amount of energy. It's the matter of how do we use it. Do we use it effectively, or does the energy inside us goes into maintaining our complaints, maintaining our inner worries, maintaining the mental going in circles, like how could I do it, or what did I do, or I'm angry about this drawing. It's like, oh, let's keep this anger in because anger is not very healthy to express, or something like that. All of the emotions come to support us. The emotions come to indicate where is the area of growth, where is the area of interest, and to show the need of our body. For example, anger or feeling upset, it could be the indication that my personal boundaries are being crossed. And if I look at it this way, I would say, thanks, anger, for coming to me to show. I would never notice that my personal boundaries or my rights are being breached. And then the emotions become the ultimate help and the source of the resources. And instead of holding it, thinking like, oh, I can't handle myself, why am I so angry all the time? I would think, wow, this anger is indicating something to me. Or maybe I'm just tired, maybe I need to give myself rest. And then you realize that your body feels much better, you won't get as much blockages in your body or muscle tension, because you would learn to use your emotions into your advantage. So I think I might go back to it. I always say it, and I not always go back to the drawings because it's just good enough. And I'm gonna switch my camera now back here. And this, what we came out with is the algorithm for removing limitations, and it can be used in any situation where you feel angry, when you don't feel I don't know why the anger comes, but anger always have a lot of energy. If you feel angry and, for example, you go and punch the pillow, punch the punching bag, or just go and shout very loud in the forest where it doesn't disturb anyone, you would feel much better because you release this energy, you release this energy that holds those emotions inside, and you can continue pursuing your goals and live happily. So we did this beautiful drawing or algorithm for removing limitations, and you can use it in any situation where you feel you're stuck, where, like, for example, me, I wanted to start this channel, but I thought, where do I start? Where do I go with? And this would be my first step into developing it. And I'm sure that from now on, it's going to be way easier because some of the limitation I had in my head, some of the inner conflicts were neutralized. And now this energy which was pulled into that can go into actions. And of course, after I finished drawing, because it's the coaching method, it's very important to build the what am I going to do next, the next steps, because the next steps, it's absolute key. Because if you draw all the time and think, why nothing changes, because maybe you do not do those next steps. And not doing the next steps is not just harmful for not achieving anything, it's also might cause feeling irritation or loss of motivation because you think that you put so much effort, you do something but no result, and nobody wants no result. So that's it. I would suggest you to use this method as much as you want. Draw it using different topics, drawing different shapes, helping yourself when you feel it. You could probably just, if you feel unwell, just go and spill it all out and neutralize it and make it more harmonic and less harmful. So that was the algorithm for removing limitation, and that's what you could have got, or something across those lines. So if you have any questions, put them down in the comments, and always subscribe to my channels. If you want to share your drawing with me, feel free to message me on Instagram, for example. I love seeing your drawings. I could always give you a feedback. What could you improve, where you could correct yourself, or how you could achieve better results in your topic. So feel free to connect. I always love talking, and I have a special folder on my phone where I save all the drawings which people drew with me. So it's like the special, when I feel sad, I just go there and scroll through them, and it gives me a smile. So yeah, if you have any questions about Neurographica or what next you would like to learn about it, let me know. And if you would like to commit into learning about how to use the algorithm for removing limitation to help yourself, you could get a Neurographica basic course, and also message me for the details. In any case, I will see you in the next video, and thanks for your time, for your attention. Have a great day or evening, or whatever day of the week is there.